Last week, Formula One has agreed to a 6-year contract extension with the Automobile Club of Monaco to continue the Monaco Grand Prix throughout to the 2031 season. Next year's race on the streets of Monte Carlo will take place on Sunday, May 25th, on Memorial Day weekend. However, 2025 will be the final year that we will see the Monaco Grand Prix on this date. The so-called motorsports Christmas of breakfast in Monaco, lunch in Indy, and dinner in Charlotte will go away in 2026 and onward. Monaco will shift to the first weekend in June, avoiding a clash with the Indianapolis 500. Formula One CEO Stefano Domenicali said he's delighted that everyone will continue to race in Monaco because the streets of Monte Carlo are unique and a famous part of the World Championship history. On Monday, we received news that the Canadian Grand Prix will take place in May, starting in 2026, because the organisers support F1's efforts to rationalise the calendar and make travel more sustainable for the whole paddock. With Monaco moving to June, we'll see the Canadian Grand Prix on the 3rd or the 4th weekend in May each year. Now, if it's the 4th weekend of May, there's a possibility that we could see the Canadian Grand Prix in action at the same time as the Indy 500, photo courtesy of Formula One. What a load of rubbish. Slow clap award to F1's resident lunatic, Stefano Domenicali, who, as far as I can care, can take his heels and go to MotoGP, even though I don't want him there either. What a load of rubbish. Matt, I don't even need to ask this question. Are you in favour of the Monaco Grand Prix moving back a week early to June? And are you bothered that Canadian Grand Prix could clash with the Indianapolis 500? I'll save you the time. What a load of rubbish.
Yeah, I'd heard that Stefano Domenicali rumour, and I don't think it's true.
It's
not true. I mean, as it's written in the script here, and are you bothered that the Canadian Grand Prix could clash with the Indianapolis 500? No, not really. I'll be watching Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And we'll be with Matthew Owen calling it on the Ultimate Sports Radio Network. And then I watch Canada on Monday, like I do with all these Grand Prix in the Americas that clash with NASCAR, or in this case, IndyCar. The Monaco news came out, and then, of course, the Elon app, which I'm now going to start calling it now, as I've disbanded with it, so somewhat, was going, oh, that means Indianapolis is free for Formula One drivers.
Nope.
It doesn't work like that anymore. That was never going to happen, and now we've got this Canada news, which they've been trying to sort of sort the calendars, haven't they? Last couple of years, we've seen Japan move up to the spring, had it for the first time this year, and it's round 3 of the season next year, which is just...
Yeah, it's too early.
You look at the calendar and go, what? Japan? In April? Before the Middle East stuff. So what they're going to do now is have Miami in its early May slot, then go to Montreal, and then come back for Monaco, Spain, and the rest of the European season, which from a logistical point, and they've been trying to do this, makes total sense. I'm not bothered by it, but I think Formula One will be bothered when they get the TV ratings on a Monday or Tuesday for the Canadian Grand Prix and go, oops, oh dear.
Yeah.
Everyone was watching a square at Speedway, Indiana.
I've got to admit, I'm a diehard Formula One fan. I have not missed a Grand Prix since 2013. And I love every single second of it. But I'm sorry, I'm not commentating the Canadian Grand Prix, which is one of my favourite races on the calendar, to miss the absolutely amazing spectacle that is the Indy 500, because that is you spend 2 weeks building up to it. B, I'm there in every single session. C, it's Indianapolis. You don't miss it. And I think Formula 1 is quite brave to put, no offence, a Canadian Grand Prix on the Indy 500 date. To me, it's kind of, it's rubbing it in the face a little bit. Also, they've got the Stanley Cup. So, yeah, that could be an issue coming in. And I don't know. To me, this indicates that the start time for Montreal's moving. Whether that moves earlier or later, don't know. But when can you move it? Oh, they move it later. Could it become a night race? I mean, if any circuit could become a night race, I think Montreal is the easiest to do, don't you think?
But then it takes it out of the European TV window.
Yeah.
Which is what they like. So...
And puts it... But then it puts it directly up against NASCAR and the Coca-Cola 600. So they can't win.
But Well, there is that, but I think Formula One feel more people will watch Indianapolis. More Formula One fans would watch IndyCar than NASCAR. So you would have IndyCar start at Matthew's not here. He'll shoot me. I think it's 12 o'clock local.
Yeah.
There he is. Thank you. And then go to Canada at 4 o'clock Eastern time, which is what 9 o'clock for us in the UK, 10 o'clock European. So I think that would probably be the way that that pans out. And Matthew agrees with me that ABC's Canadian GP ratings won't be great now, will they?
Of course, it used to start quite later. In the UK, it didn't start till 8 o'clock at one point as well. And it all moved up. Kind of 3 p.m. Eastern, I'll take that. The ideal thing that they should be looking at here is to get Indianapolis done. Then, in the gap between Indy and Charlotte, fit in the Canadian Grand Prix. Then do Charlotte. There's a gap.
Or have the race on a Saturday at Canada.
Yeah, this is another thing I've just thought. Could it become a Saturday Grand Prix? Because we've had this now. I mean, for God's sake, if they can move Bahrain and Saudi Arabia to Saturday to fit in with Ramadan, which isn't a motorsporting event, to move it to a Saturday,
No, it's not.
The biggest race in the world, they can afford to run on a Saturday. If they can move 2 races for a religious event, they could move it for our religious event. I mean, you don't mess it up. It's one of the 3 things. Don't mess with Monaco. Don't mess with Indy. Don't mess with Le Mans. And they've done it all. And sometimes I wish I can get Stefano Domenicali in a room and just,
Yeah, because quite often we've had the Canadian Grand Prix on Le Mans weekend, of course. So you finish watching Le Mans in the afternoon, have a couple of hours off, and then go to Canada to watch the Grand Prix in the evening for us here in the UK. That always work. And they liked that in the old regime of Liberty and of the earlier days of Liberty, and of course Bernie before it. So, again, this is back to the calendar shuffling and making everything a bit more streamlined. That's, I think, the headline point of this.
And of course, they want to go in a straight line, so don't expect this to be the last time we're talking about calendar changes. And what I'm hearing, if you're a fan of Brazil, it could become the season finale again, as they want to go in a straight line. So we'll sort of zip back to the Gulf Air State and then zip back up to America and do the last triple races there, which is COTA. Yeah, so we'll do COTA, then Mexico, Brazil. And Vegas will be in there as well. So, yeah, that's how they want to look at it. 500 start time used to religiously be 11 a.m. local. It's now 12:45 Eastern. That's 5:45 here in the UK. And that takes a long time. If you shove the F1 race for 8:30, it should, even with red flags Indy, that should be enough. And to be fair,